So I'm at home tonight. Well, not at home. I'm in my digs where I stay when I work away, and I've got a very long day tomorrow where I'm doing a double shift. So it's double my amount of hours on air on television. So I've got an interview tonight, which I'm just about to do. It's around about 10:45, and I'm doing an interview on talk radio with Paul Ross all about my iron deficiency. But I'll play you out that interview as well within this vlog, so you can hear all the health problems that I've had since I had Frankie Jack. So I'm just waiting for him to call now, and we're also going to have Dr. Caitlin Scott, who is one of the main doctors at the Iron Clinic, a PhD doctor, and she knows all the stats and all about what iron deficiency can do to you. And she obviously knows my story because she's the one that's really helped me, along with my friend Carrie, who actually recognised it first from reading my bloods. And then I ended up stumbling across the Iron Clinic, and it was Dr. Caitlin Scott that's just been immense. I'll leave all her details in the description below so you can get in touch with her. So I'm just waiting for that phone call now. Please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And yeah, I'll try and film as much as I can of what I can. I'm just waiting for the phone call now. Hello.
And now on Talk Radio's Late Late Early Show, a story that could concern everybody. It could concern you, and it certainly could concern me. In fact, it has concerned me, because we're talking about a medical condition that has afflicted a very good friend of mine, a woman called Sally Jacks. You've seen her on TV, great TV star, TV presenter at the moment on Ideal World, which you can catch on its own channel and overnight on ITV1. Also a great singer, former member of Bucks Fizz. But for a while, Sally Jacks wasn't the Sally Jacks that I knew and loved. Sally's with us now. Good morning, Sally.
Hello, good morning. How are you, Paul?
Very well indeed. But before we get your story, let me talk a bit about your condition, get an overview from Dr. Caitlin Scott, who's obviously a doctor but specialises with a focus on women's health, because we're talking, Caitlin, good morning, about something called low ferritin. I'm guessing that's something to do with a lack of iron deficiency. Tell us about it, please.
Yes. So a low ferritin essentially looks at the amount of iron that you have stored in your body, and that iron delivers all of the needs to the organs in the body with regards to iron, and specifically with regards to oxygen carrying capacity of blood. So when your ferritin stores are low, you are depleted. And what we end up saying to a lot of the patients is that they are running on fumes, because those storage warehouses are just empty, and none of the resources are available to fuel that oxygen carrying capacity of blood.
So is this a kind of variant or a kind of extension of anemia, or is this something different, low ferritin?
So anemia is the end stage of iron deficiency, but anemia can be caused by a number of different things. So things like vitamin B12 deficiency or folate deficiency can cause anemia. The most common cause by far is iron deficiency.
Well, I've known Sally Jacks, as you have now, Caitlin. I've known her for years, though, and I know her as a kind of Duracell bunny of TV and singing, full of energy. She put the fizz in Bucks Fizz. But Sally, welcome back. For a while, you were not yourself. Tell us your story, because this kind of crept up on you a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. So it started during pregnancy. So the latter stages of pregnancy, my hands started to go blue, and my feet did, like a really light shade of blue, like your lips do when you go cold. And I couldn't move them properly. I went to the doctors. I saw the doctors that I were under at the hospital, you know, when you go in as a pregnant woman, midwives, etc. And nobody could tell me what it was, but they just said to me, oh, this is a condition that pregnant women get. We don't know what it is, but it will leave you. So I was like, oh, okay, so you take the word of what they're saying to you.
So were you thinking like bad circulation or something? What were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know. I'm just thinking, what the heck? But, you know, obviously pregnancy throws loads at you, and your hormones are all over the place, and you go with what the doctors tell you. And I thought, well, there's nothing to worry about. This will leave me. It will be fine. And then I had my son, and after I had my son, I had symptoms very similar, and there'll be a lot of people out there that will probably suffer with this condition, fibromyalgia. So it's very, very similar to fibromyalgia, where my joints were very stiff, very sore, and I couldn't move properly. So in the middle of the night, when I did a night feed and I bottle fed, my husband had to actually pass me my son, put him in my arms, and actually hand me the bottle because I couldn't move my limbs and my joints properly.
Let me ask you, Sally. I know you're not a moaner, you're not a complainer. Most of us aren't. But were you in pain with this?
Yes, I was in pain. And I went to the doctors, and so really it spoilt sort of the start of motherhood for me, if you will, because I was suffering so much with my body, as well as obviously being deprived of sleep. And so I went to the doctors again, and I was told that this was very similar to a lot of women. They didn't know what it was again, and it would leave me probably after 12 weeks, of which it did slightly. It sort of lifted. It wasn't as bad. But
by then, I suppose you've slightly acclimatised to it, so you're able to bear the discomfort and the pain a bit more.
Yeah, I suppose, and obviously, without me being rude, popping pills, the paracetamol, trying to get over and alleviate the pain and the discomfort that I was in. But then on top of that, I then started to lose my hair. My hair started to go thin, and my nails started to go brittle. I had chronic fatigue, like I can't even tell you. Just to drag myself out of bed, it was horrendous. I started to get hot flashes as if I was perimenopausal. I started to get breathless where I couldn't walk upstairs. My legs felt like lead. My body felt like lead. And I was super fit, like I've been a professional dancer.
Okay, let me bring Caitlin back in here, because she's I can hear her murmuring sympathetically on this, Caitlin. So I suppose the concern for people listening might be these symptoms, and maybe for doctors even, might be indicators of other things.
Yeah, exactly. The problem with iron deficiency is that the symptoms are very common to a number of different causes. So by far the most common symptom is fatigue or the exhaustion. But lesser known symptoms are things like brain fog, which is this inability to think clearly or inability to remember what you were doing when you walk into a room, or remember what you were saying when you're mid-conversation.
But again, post-pregnancy, and I've had 5 children, I've kept my figure, no stretch marks, but post-pregnancy there's that myth of what they call like porridge brain or pregnancy brain. So again, women might think, this isn't another condition, this is something you get when you've had a baby.
And the most common cause for that is the fact that those mothers are iron deficient after being pregnant for 10 months, giving all of their iron to their developing child, and then birthing their child, thereby losing blood in the process, and then going on to breastfeed, where they lose more of the iron.
Sure. Well, let's go back to Sally now. Sally, let me, and Caitlin's staying with us, of course, Dr. Caitlin Scott there. Sally, so what happened to you after that? Because you found out that you weren't alone with this, didn't you?
Yes, but I had some more serious problems with it as well, Paul. I had reoccurring chest infections, of which in 2017 they actually thought I had pneumonia because I was so poorly, and they found a shadow on my lung. They actually tested me for COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, because my breathing was so bad.
Oh dear!
And they put me on high amounts of steroids, which is Foster 200. They put me on Spiriva, I think that's how you pronounce it, which is a COPD drug.
And I'm sure many of those things have side effects as well, don't they? Which you're coping with.
Yeah. So I was pumping my body full of synthetics, because I was also put on. I had very bad anxiety where I couldn't leave the house. I had these like butterflies in my neck, in my throat. I was having panic attacks, Paul, on live television.
Yeah, and again, as I said to folks, I'm declaring interest. I've worked with Sally, loved Sally for years now, and one thing you're not is unconfident or nervous,
No.
And so this is affecting you psychologically. So,
oh my God, and I'm thinking to myself, what the heck is happening to me?
And then how do you finally come to a resolution with this then? How did you find out, A, what it was that was genuinely wrong with you? How did you put it right? And how did you bump into your friend who's also living with this and you're not campaigning with?
Yeah, my sidekick is Carrie, my friend Carrie, who's she's a designer for frocks and outfits and things for the stars, and she happened to call me up when I had another chest infection. So this was November the 1st last year, 2018. I was put on prednisolone, which is another steroid, as well as my Foster, as well as my COPD drug, as well as my Ventolin, and as well as my anxiety and panic attack pill, which was called sertraline. I was on 200 milligram of that. Anybody that's on that will be horrified. That was on such a large dose. And I was vomiting, and they put me on a omeprazole now to try and stop the acidity in my stomach from all the steroids. And she rang me up, did Carrie, and she said, "Are you all right?" I said, "No, I'm in a terrible way yet again with another chest infection. What the heck's wrong with me? I'm coming round. Get your bloods printed out." And luckily, I had them printed out the week before. I got them printed out from the doctors. My husband went to pick them up. Carrie came round, and she went, right, she said, "I don't know that much about this." She said, "but I know a lot about B12 deficiency, of which Carrie's just been on this morning, talking about that with Dr. Chris."
Oh, right, on the ITV show, yeah.
Yeah. And she said, so we're campaigning for iron deficiency and B12 together. And she basically said that your ferritin is very low. She said, "You need to go to the doctors and have this checked." So I went back. She said, "But I don't know enough about it." She said, "But I just know that it's incredibly low." So I went back to the doctors the next day. And listen, I don't want to call doctors because obviously, as Dr. Caitlin's just said, it's not their fault. We're only human. It's what we're taught. And the guidelines are too wide in the NHS, which is what we're campaigning for. So I went back to the doctors. No, there's nothing wrong with you. I said, "But I'm a mirror image for low ferritin. I'm a mirror image of what's on the NHS website." No, you're absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with your iron. And I thought to myself, I said, "Well, just give me something." I said, "I'm not leaving until I've got something." So they put me on ferrous sulfate. But then I started to think, I need to do more. So I took it on myself. I'm like a little Jack Russell, and I don't let anything go. So then I started to do my research, and I happened to stumble on the Iron Clinic, which is Dr. Caitlin.
Yeah.
I sent my blood results off to them. They were basically saying, "How the heck are you even standing?" And I went down for an iron infusion 9 weeks later, and I'm back to my normal self.
Well, thank goodness for that. Sally Jack Russell will call you from now on, though. Sally Jack's there, fit and healthy. And how's the little one? How's your baby?
Yeah, he's really, really, really good. He's really good. I will tell you, at this present moment in time, I'm just about to pick a referral letter up from my GP because I'm actually going to get his blood tested, because if you're iron deficient during pregnancy, you can actually pass this on to your child. And Frankie Jack is actually showing symptoms of being a little iron deficient. So I actually now want to get him checked that he's not iron deficient.
And that leads me to another question, actually. And it's great, and good luck with it. I'm sure Frankie Jack will be fine. Sally, great to talk to you again. The wonderful Sally Jack's there, as I said, singer, former member of Bucks Fizz, also see her on Ideal World. Let's end with you there, Dr. Caitlin, if we may, Caitlin Scott. We've talked about the Iron Clinic. I was going to ask that, and kind of Sally preempted it, so this isn't just something that really affects mainly women then. This could affect everybody. What should people do if they're concerned about this? And again, with no disrespect to GPs or medical professionals, they think that actually maybe their GP might have missed this. What should they do?
Yeah, so the best thing to do is to get a recent blood test. So go into your GP, ask them to do a check with your bloods for iron deficiency. So that's to check a full blood count and iron studies. And anybody can send their blood results into the Iron Clinic, and we can review them. We have the most up-to-date research on at what point and what ferritin value different symptoms develop. And as I was saying earlier, unfortunately, health professionals are just not very well educated on this. So they don't know that certain ferritin levels can cause certain symptoms. They just don't know unless it is picked up by the lab reference ranges, which are incredibly wide. So if they go into their GPs, ask for a blood test to be done, tell the GP that what their symptoms are and that that's the reason that they'd like their iron levels tested, and then send them into the Iron Clinic, and we can review them and let them know what needs to be done.
And we can find that online, the Iron Clinic. That was TV presenter Sally Jacks and Dr. Caitlin Scott there, who specialises with a focus on women's health issues. But as you've heard, low ferritin can affect everybody, and you heard about that here on Talk Radio, the talk of the nation.
So thank you for listening to the interview. I'm going to be doing more on health and more on iron and more on vitamins and how we kind of almost abuse our bodies. Iron deficiency can happen at any time. But so this is something that I'm doing on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So please don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up. And it's so lovely. Thank you for taking your time out to watch and listen to this interview. I love you lots. I'll see you later.